Okay, morning everybody. Let's get started with our August physical committee monthly meeting. I hope everybody's doing well out there and can take this call safely. For whatever reason, if you do have to drop off, you can always circle back with me and I'll fill you in on anything that you might have missed. So get started. Really just the only thing I had under old business for this month was, just a reminder about there was some confusion with, how we referred to the committee. We are the physical committee. You may have heard in the past, it's called the inventor group, kind of slang. So we're trying real hard to go just call it the physical committee since there was confusion on that in the past. So it's really the only thing I had under old business. Anybody have anything, from past months or anything that to bring up? Okay, so moving on to new business. We had a charter change that the leadership voted on and approved, and basically what has changed, I'll give you the basic rundown of it, is the co-chair position is no longer a voting position. We changed this for a couple of reasons, but the biggest reason for making it a non-voting position, we're now opening the co-chair position up to allow any member hold this position. So previously, this was a position that can only be held by a utility company member. We had to work for a utility to hold that position, but through growing, needs, kind of, we see the design firms have come, step up to the plate in a lot of cases, and we'd like to give, and a lot of times we've had trouble filling these roles in the past. In some of the other committees, we've been pretty fortunate in this committee that we haven't had quite that issue at this point in time. But, collectively it was, discussed and talked about, and, in order to, allow, some other folks, to have this role, we decided to make it a non-voting role. It also allows so that, depending on, who would be in the roles, if it was still voting, a little bit that it could have been weighed, a vote could have been weighed one way or another. Not that we really experienced any of that issue over the years, but we just felt it would be better for the consortium if we made this change. So the chair still is basically unchanged, so that'll still be still must be held by a utility member on that, and basically they're the ones that are casting the vote. The idea being that still the chair talks with the of course, the committee and the co-chair and stuff, making, before casting that vote, so to speak, on some of these, things that may come up here and there. But all in all, I won't get into the language, per se, and, all the little things that doesn't really of the charter change, but just wanting to let everybody know that the charter change, in on the co-chair position. We, like I said, now any member of the consortium can hold that co-chair position. We are having a co-chair elections this fall in November at our virtual event. So we're taking nominations for that. You can reach out to me if you're interested, if you want more information or whatnot. I mean, if you want to speak up in the call, you're more than happy to as well. But if you just want to reach out to me on that and stuff, feel free to. I will add that I did talk to our co-chair, Mark Thomas. He is going to have to step down in November, so he will not be running or continuing. It's an election year anyways, but he'll fill his duties till November when we will elect a new co-chair. So we are going to need somebody to step up on that. So anybody have any questions or comments on that change? I want to make sure it's understood for everybody.
I don't have any questions for you. I think that was a pretty thorough explanation.
Okay. Thanks. Like I said, if you're interested, now, any of you guys out there that, all members and stuff, you're interested in it, want more information on what it might entail, feel free to reach out to me, and hopefully we can get some names on our ballot here come November and elect a new co-chair. So speaking of November, we're on to our fall virtual face-to-face, and this is kind of going to be our main, topic here over the next couple months and in November for another great event. For all those that attended our May event, this is November is just going to be pretty much the same. It's going to be the 2nd through the 4th, 11 through 5, those 3 days. I don't believe registration is open quite yet. I believe that coming next month, but that'll be out. You should hopefully see an email from the website on that. I know sometimes the emails don't always go through and block, but if you don't, I will again, I will update everybody when I know it's actually opened and whatnot, but you can basically go to the website and register through there. We talked about in our last leadership meeting, we're shooting for a total of 350 registrants. We had, and don't quote me on numbers, but I think we had like 341 for the May event. So we had a lot of people show interest in it and register. So we're hoping to drive that number up just a little bit and hit that mark. It was the most we had for any of our events in the past. So great attendance. I hope a lot of people got out of it and enjoyed it. On that, it again will be hosted through Zoom. Zoom meaning the calendar and stuff of how it was up, and you can click on the see all the sessions going on from the different groups and whatnot, and be able to bounce around from group to group and click on those Zoom links. That'll all be functioning again and stuff. I want to thank Power Engineers for paying for our Zoom license for the consortium. And it will be, of course, recorded, and we'll be able to get those recordings up to the website. If you miss anything, can't attend, 1 in 10, 2 sessions going on at the same time, all that stuff. So the big then thing kind of, going forward is, we need, know topics and things that interest you, everybody out there. So I'm looking for input from all of you on this. We've had some little bit of some stuff come through. Burns and Mac has offered about doing a VR presentation, and I think some other stuff coming from them. We are looking for accredited presentation. We're trying, as a whole from the consortium, we're trying to shoot for each group to have one. We really need, if we're going to be able to pull this one off, we need to get going on that. We'll need to get that. We have people that will, kind of look it over and approve it, make sure it's all good to be, officially accredited presentation. So we kind of need to get that in. So looking for suggestions, looking for help with that. Let me know. Also, the big thing that we'd like to hit on is the project spotlight. Thought last in May, we had some good dialogue. It was great to see what folks are working on out there, and see, what they're actually using the software and the tools and stuff for, whether it's on, active projects, a pilot project, wherever you might be still in your development. We just want to hear from you and then see where everybody, show people that, it is working, or, go through, some of the things that maybe you're fighting to get off the ground and whatnot. So it's just a good thing to show everybody, be proud of what you have accomplished and out there. So if you need more information on that, feel free to reach out to me. Also going to put together a discussion around beginner's thoughts and experience. So I always thought it's kind of neat to hear the stories of, the challenges and stuff, going through, the beginning. So hopefully, that'll be a discussion to help, out, more our beginner people out there. I expect, we'll hear from SBS on a few things. I have to talk with those folks. I've already talked to Jack a little bit from Autodesk. We plan to have an office hour, basically presentation, just like with the office hours. So that's kind of what we got going on now. But I'll open it up right now to the floor. If anybody has anything that they'd be interested in seeing, let me know, and I'll see what I can do as far as putting it together. Whether it's it may be anything from me, from SBS, Autodesk, any type of suggestion you got. Let me know. Anybody have any ideas, anything to say on today right now?
Josh, this is Alex Pulse from Birds of Mac. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. So I just wanted to say, not so much on the SBS or Autodesk topics, but I did want to say, we met internally here a couple days ago just to talk about potentially some other topics that we could help out with for presentations for in November. And I can follow up with you in an email, but just to get some of your feedback on things we thought maybe would be good to present on. Outside of the virtual reality substation that we had already talked about, was basically a modular substation design that we put together that was done using Inventor in 3D. It's pretty cool little presentation that we've got put together, if that would be something that would be of interest, as well as some virtual design and construction, some BAM plus VDC things that we're working on. Obviously, so that's used. We use Revit for that more than Inventor. So I don't know if that's something that you would also be interested in. But these are some topics that we could also do presentations on if time allows, or if you'd like us to do a presentation each day. That was some ideas that we had.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds great. I'll follow up with you on that. I mean, I'll open up to, other folks. You just heard with Alex's offering from his group and whatnot. If anybody else have any thoughts or comments on that, or, anything else that you might like to see, as far as anything here, at a virtual event. So again, kind of need your feedback on this stuff as far as, what might interest you, or maybe where you stuck, where you're having problems at, that we can talk about, would be good, for, presentation, whether it's open discussion. Alex, I will follow up with you on your stuff, and we'll put some of that down, I think, on here. I encourage you again, out there, that project spotlight, be proud of what you guys are working on. And, I think it's a chance for you to show what your company's maybe doing, what you're working on, whether it's big, small, anywhere's in between. Just a nice highlight and really help encourage everybody of, what they're doing out there and stuff. So, I encourage you to get involved with that one. Like I said, I think that everybody enjoys kind of seeing what people have done or accomplished, or what they're trying to accomplish. Like I said, I think that's a good one for everybody involved on that. So reach out to me again. I know it's August, but November is fast approaching. We need some time to put some stuff together and whatnot. Again, you have suggestions for Autodesk, something you'd like to see, around any of their softwares that, kind of apply to us, let us know. And the same for SBS. I'll be reaching out to those guys. I'm sure we'll have some things for them as well. So any last thoughts or comments before I move on about the virtual event as a whole? Okay, so moving on. I know Steve couldn't join us today. He was busy talked to him, briefly and stuff. So I know, I believe from what he had said to me, again, don't quote me on this, only the messenger in between. I believe the next update for the toolkit is he's thinking, it should be out shortly. And he talked about maybe doing a webinar on that update here in September. So I know we've kind of, it keeps getting pushed back to every month a little bit here, but I know they're working on that stuff. And if you do have any topics for Steve, you can always email him. You can always email me as well, for stuff maybe that you want to see, like as a webinar, or of course he'll bring something for the November face-to-face. So anybody have anything that ideas for Steve that maybe I could relay to him or anything at this point in time? Okay. Again, somebody have something?
No, I said not at this time.
Okay. Not a problem. Like I said, if you think of anything, let me know. I will begin in touch with him and stuff as we set up for November. So moving on, Autodesk. I know Jack, I see you out there. So me and Jack met quickly, I think at the beginning of this week. We're kind of, I'll go quick over and I'll let Jack chime in here if he wants, but we were doing the office hours, but since Jack's kind of taken on this new role and everything, we kind of paused on that. He's trying to get everything, going, get his head around everything, with a new position and stuff. We're probably going to go bi-monthly on those, just because coming up with topics every month might get a little bit redundant and everything on that. But again, we're going to continue them. We're looking for ideas and thoughts of things that you would like to go. We're thinking, it looks like we're going to put one together on Inventor Nastran. Looks like that could be our next one. But any other programs, any things that you might have, let me know, and I'll relay them to Jack, or I think some of you have Jack's email. I cover most of that. Jack, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think you pretty well covered it. I mean, yeah, if there are topics anybody would like to see, certainly reach out to Josh or myself, doesn't matter. We'll get those squared away. So that way we're just not randomly picking things that might not really apply to what you guys do every day.
Yep. So thanks, Jack, for being in a role and supporting us and joining us on our calls. So it's great to hear from him. And two, as a reminder, Autodesk University is virtual again. It's in October. You can go out to the website there and register for that. So just to remind everybody on that. So any questions, thoughts, comments for Autodesk? Nope. Okay. Like I said, if anything comes up, let me know. So, okay, on to our show and tell time. Again, last month we talked about this, and I sent up a little poll of what might interest people, and the poll came back. The top thing on the list was about the toolkit. I tried to get Steve or somebody from SBS to do something for us on this, but unfortunately they were booked and couldn't make it. So you guys are kind of stuck with me, and I didn't really have much, but I thought something maybe, for some people out there would be a little interesting to maybe see one aspect of it from somebody else. So I know in the past, Steve's done some stuff around, kind of the design database for in the toolkit. I'm talking, mainly, you're getting your information on when you do cables and, bus work, conduit grounding. You can get into that database, and you can modify that and put information in regarding for your company or, for your client, whoever's needs in there. So we've seen the database side of things. So I thought maybe it would be cool to for those that maybe didn't see it or haven't seen what others have done, I thought I'd show you a little bit of what, just some basic of what I did here for us at PPL. So when I come in here into my above grade settings, so looking at doing cables and stuff on here, if we come down here to my default cable size, you notice I kept, the kind of factory stuff from the toolkit in here. But what I have done is I've gone and added our list of PPL cables. So here you can see kind of in the list here, real quick, of PPL cables that we use. So, and basically, I select one of these and I hit save, and I'll come in here and I'll draw a quick cable in here in my assembly here. So you see, put my cable in, and the big thing here now is instead of from the change from the stock stuff is in here in the properties really for it. And I really it's down here in our part number, stock number, BOM description. These are all our descriptions from all our information here at PPL. It's also here in the custom My Properties tab. You see our information. So this is our bill of material information getting populated. It's populated automatically in here. I don't have to do anything else with this stuff on here. So it's all set up in the go. And basically that's all entering. This information is entered into the database. It's, under the hood, so to speak, to allow this stuff to come in so that any user that has our database set in and active, they can take advantage of this and not have to, put a cable and put their own information in. It also works here, if I go back into settings, I'll go over to the bus tab, and you can see in here, default round bus. I have our bus in here. I think there's flat bus in here. Yeah, there's PPL flat bus in here as well. So I'll just save that quick. And if I draw bus quick, select my fittings. And you see my bus, populate, with the toolkit. But the big thing is, here's my property information in here. There's, my custom, all the information that I desire out of that part is here already automatically. The only other, kind of thing like with that is in here in the overall settings. You can change your templates to what you have in here. So I have our PPL templates loaded in there. So I also have that going, but just thought I'd show you guys from the user end side of things from that database and stuff of what, what you can do by actually spending the time and setting some of that stuff up. We've seen a lot of the setup stuff, but here's kind of the other end of it. Show it to you guys work and show you what the lists look like a little bit from ours. And, they don't have to be the same. You kind of suit whatever your needs are. So I'll open up the questions, comments on that.
Hey Josh, how you doing? This is William from Con8. Now, if you want to change that cable from 1 conductor to 2 conductor, how complicated is that?
Not complicated at all. It's I don't have it set up into my thing, but you can basically go over here to dual cables, and here's some information on your spacer. You can set your choose your spacer and go out to it. And basically it's when you draw cable, you'll come in and ask you, and I think it's, don't quote me completely on this, it's I think D, but you would basically go same process after you have that stuff set up and stuff. And I don't have dual cable in my assembly here to show it to you, but if we had dual cables here, I can select the one, and then if you look at it, it'll give you an option. I think it's D for dual. You hit D, and then it'll ask, it'll go into kind of the dual cable mode, and you would come down here and select, the corresponding cable up here, and then you would select the other one. And basically it just generates, just like you saw that cable, it will generate, and it'll add the cable spacers based on your criteria that you have in. I believe Steve has, there's a video on that too. If it's not on our YouTube channel, it's on SBS's YouTube channel that does cover that in a lot more detail than I just did.
Yeah, thanks.
Josh, real quick question. So how long, you were showing us all those, PPL specific cables that you added with your stock codes and BOM descriptions and how you prefer that. How long did it take you to insert all of those information for, say, just for the cables, just for the strain conductor? How long did it take you to actually build out that, all those individual little profiles, those cables?
It wasn't, because again, I copied, kind of like the cable profiles from the stock cable. So I didn't really have to build out the information on it. I just had to add the extra PPL information. And really what it comes down to is knowing what information that you want to have, the time that it takes, to dig up that information, depending on where you have all that information. That was probably, as much time doing kind of like the homework and background other than entering it. It's kind of just like entering in a spreadsheet. And, so it's, how many cables, it wasn't actually too bad. Entering the cables, it took some time to go through, everything as far as, cables, conduit and whatnot. That's where it took some time, but, it's not too bad. And then I know I've done some, gone back and, edited some things. I basically keep a spreadsheet separate from the database, so to speak, that has all that information. And, that way I have it there to kind of copy over into the actual database itself. So if I lose anything or, we get a refresh or something, I know I had to do it before we got a refresh, and I had to basically enter all that information again. Because I had that spreadsheet already built, it was really easy to copy that information and quick and simple. So that then it took no time at all. So it's, once initially set up, it's not too bad, but time factor, to do all that stuff, I mean, you can do it within a day.
Okay.
Like I said, after the kind of the homework's done, it's not, and I'm not even talking a full day probably to do that, but you'd probably spend as much time putting it in as doing the homework, to make sure, you got every cable that you need and all the information labeled. And you're kind of, in the beginning, like I said, I did it twice, so to speak. I did the spreadsheet and then I copied that information over into the toolkit database. Any other comments, questions on that?
Yes. So I guess, and I guess to kind of build off of that, it sounds like, once you've got all that information put in there, it's pretty, and then it's easily exported into a bill of material, and it already has your preferred style of material labels and descriptions and then everything, right? So it's an advantage on that end of it.
Well, yes, much as that saves much time on that. I mean, I've been using this for a little bit now, so I went through before we actually were able to do that. I mean, we had a problem in the beginning. We couldn't add, for those who maybe have done this for a while, have been using it, you couldn't add custom iProperties into that database. So we'd actually go and, in order to trick that, we actually set up in the settings here, the templates, we actually came up with cable templates. You'd actually have to go in here and change to an actual cable template that had all that information in, select the right, stock cable and draw those cables in. And then when you change cable size, you had to come back into the settings, change to a different cable template. A lot more cumbersome, a lot more things to keep track of. So eventually they made some changes in there. We were able to put that information in, and like you said, it's really easy. You saw the information in there. Of course, now when I bring up a bill, it has all that information in there for the bill materials, and I can have anybody, you have to put that database on each user's computer. It's not kind of like a global database. You have to put it on each person's computer, but it allows anybody then doing it to select here. We could send that database to our design firm partners and stuff, and they can use it for their cables, and it just they don't have to do anything funky when creating any of those cables, bus, conduit, type of deals.
Awesome.
So
Thank you.
it is worth the time, to spend to set it up, and kind of like as you have more users, the kind of sooner that you can have somebody do that, there is a benefit on that side of things. So.
Josh, quick question. This layer I see here, how long does it take you to do it? Is it basically drag and drop, or this is a little bit more extensive?
To put the information into the sheet you're talking?
Yeah, the one I'm seeing on this layer that you have this breaker, disconnect switch, some supports. Did it took you too long to lay this out in the? This
Oh,
is the
to
inventor,
lay
right?
this out? No,
Yeah.
I mean this is kind of like a test environment for me. I have this
Mhm.
assembly on it, so yeah, this didn't take long at all to put together.
And usually
This
this
is
is
what
what
I'm.
fairly drag and drop, or you just have to give more specification as far as type of
Well,
structures you need.
for this, I had these assemblies. Like if you see me hover over my mouse, so I had these assemblies built, so I just real easy to plot these
Mhm.
already in. These are kind of like standard assemblies that we already had made. So like for me to put this together and stuff, I mean, I've had this together for a while. I kind of use this. This
I
is
see.
my good test bed thing for as I'm using demoing or anything else. So I know everything in here kind of it's on its own. It moved, but when you have assemblies like this, now it doesn't take long. It kind of has like a rough skeleton in that to place this stuff, and you can really place it and stuff real quick.
Okay, thanks.
Any other comments, questions? Okay. If you do have any questions or any further comments or like to discuss anything, else around what I showed you today, feel free to reach out to me. We can do a Zoom call or something like that separately if you like to see something a little bit more or you see it a little slower or something on that. I can definitely, help out, walk you through some of those things on that. But like I said, I thought it good we hadn't seen maybe from, not just SBS's. I see the question came in quick. What about merging all your changes into the updated file? So to make any of those changes, it's just all in that database type thing. So I haven't had any real issues. There's been some tricks with the different versions of how you get that database in initially and stuff. And really, if you have a specific question around that, I would defer to Steve on that. But overall, it's not too hard to get, add things into that database. After you've done it before, you just go in. I keep that database in Vault. So basically, what I do is, if I make a change to it, then I copy my database into a file and I upload, into another location that the Vault's looking at, and upload that in the Vault. And we have handouts or whatever, job aids that tell people where to grab it from, that database file from Vault and how to actually convert it over onto their computers and stuff like that. So it's really to update the changes and stuff. It's pretty quick. It's just a matter. It goes then on how do you communicate out to the users that it changed. We don't have a big group using it, so for us it's just kind of an email. Hey, database changed. Go ahead for it. So not real complicated on our part and stuff like that. As things would ramp up and stuff, we might have to come up with a more better process just to let people know that it's changed. But overall, to change it, update it, it's not real hard to get your information in there. I hope that answers your question, Curtis. If not, follow up with, check back with me. Follow up. Okay, so onto the website. I'm gonna actually have to swap computers here for a second. So let me stop sharing a moment and switch over to my other computer. I'll share this one. So website update. Basically something that was well overdue that I promised and didn't get up there, but I finally have it up here. So this iLogic for bill of material. is up here. Here's the post I just put up yesterday. But basically, if you back in May in the virtual event, you can go to event and you can check out the presentation that I showed. I put together a little presentation around doing some using iLogic to manipulate kind of and level of detail to manipulate a build kind of on a brownfield premise. It's kind of basic. It's using level of detail. So of course, I don't have the latest and greatest inventor, so I haven't used model states with it yet. So I don't know how it would work there. I'm saying that it may work. Again, I haven't used model states yet or whatever on it. I imagine the code can be manipulated or tweaked to work in that realm. I don't think it would be something too complicated, but until I would actually have that stuff in hand, I don't know that I can look at it. But if anybody wants to try it, but basically I'm not going to run through the brownfield stuff unless somebody really wants me to. I can run that again in the future and show people. But that presentation is up here in the virtual event. If you go to the event and go to the recordings, it's there. But as far as the code and stuff goes, it is down here under, and I didn't know what to list it under, so I listed under a white paper. So it's under Inventor Logic Brownfield, and this it's downloading here. If you see on my my computer, should go. I can open file. So I'll just open it up for you guys. And see if I can just make this a little better so you guys can view it better. Let's bump up the zoom. So basically what's here is I gave a rundown. I put this together for our use. I figured I just would copy it over. I give a basic rundown of, how to use the rules, how they work together, how, I kind of came up with. So it kind of walks you through all that stuff on it. And then here at the bottom, here are the two rules that you would need to copy in. So they're copied right out of my thing. All you got to do is copy the text here, paste that into an iLogic rule, and you should be ready to go on that. You can name it anything you want. They bomb default and bomb reference are by no means linked in here to any of the code, so it can be named whatever you want on here, but just how I referred to it, and just kind of walks you through that. So just sharing that, and if anybody wants to get in there and play around with it, has ideas, we'd like to hear from you. You can comment here on the post here. You can reply there or bring it up in our meeting, but it's there for you guys to use, experiment with, yay, nay, if it's something that seems to be liked by everybody, people use it and kind of working, that maybe we can turn it into a best practice, but definitely going to hold on that until it's actually being used and maybe further developed. Like I said, it was kind of a start thing that I came up with for here. Obviously, we might have to tweak things for model states now, but anything as in the older realm of that stuff, that where level of detail, that's where it works and doesn't have too many thoughts on that. So any questions? Everybody sees where I got that from. On the committee page and stuff. Like I said, here's the post, just kind of saying out, but here's where you go on the shared content. It's under white paper. The post kind of directs you over here, and there it is. So any questions or comments on that right now?
Not at the moment.
Okay. If you do have any issues with it, I put in the post, and and whatnot. And I think even in the description here of that, I put like, you know, my email address. Email me. Feel free to reach out to me and let me know how it works for you if you do use it out there, you know, so that, like I said, you know, maybe, you know, if it's a good buy-in and, you know, tweak it or go in, you know, maybe we can turn it kind of into best practice and help us with that brownfield build problem or solution, overall solution. So, yeah, and I encourage you, as anybody else has things like that, that's, you know, we want to, you know, share things like that. We can put together, you know, just kind of a Word document of copy any code in there, and we can post it up there on the website. So, you know, future things like that or some things like that, we'll post out there as they come. So, so that's basically all I had. I'll open up now here, kind of any other toolkit discussions, any challenges or hurdles that anybody's dealing with, would like to discuss with the group. I'll open it up to anybody. Okay, if
Hey, Josh.
nobody, yeah.
Dennis here.
Hey, Dennis.
I haven't been to the website for a long time, and I see that the website has changed, and it's probably changed a year ago or so, but I'm having difficulty navigating that website. And wonder how do you get to the physical portion of that now?
Okay, hold on, let me I'll bring it back up and see if we can't. So I'm into up here in the home. You have your home basically in the committee tab. So this is the committees tab. You'll have, you know, all the committees listed here. You see our 5 basic committees: leadership, newsletter, virtual events. I think the newsletter and virtual events are open to everybody. Obviously, leadership committee, you know, me being a chair, is open. And then, you know, you can see, you know, committees on here. You have request to join. You do have to put a request in for the different committees to actually join. I kind of leave mine like this, just so I can show that off. But so it'll go into request. If you click on this, it'll put a request, and it should generate an email basically that would be sent to like me. Or, you know, what the committee chair was, and they'll, you know, should send you a little note that it's been approved. But once you get approved, then you can just kind of view group, and it goes back to that page that I was on. So you can see, you know, chair and co-chair listed. You guys won't have the admin button for it, but basically come in here and you have the posts here. There's, you know, multiple pages. We have the spring event up here. You have shared content, and then of course down below, as I scroll further, you have our calendar that is up. You can see I do have our meeting on here. You can join, should be able to join right from the meeting. I apparently didn't have the ID. If I didn't have the ID in here, I will make sure that's fixed. But anything that we have, like Zoom meetings and stuff, you know, put, or any other events, like if Steve does any webinars or anything, that once we, you know, going with the Autodesk office hours, I will update this calendar with the meetings. And I believe the only meetings that we can link right now are Zoom, especially since we're using them. But we should be able to link that you can basically click right on here and be able to join the meetings and stuff. So if you ever like anybody loses the invites out there, you can go to the calendar, and I thought on the home, the calendar could have been, it's under all events. If you click on all events, it'll bring up the full calendar. So anything that I add on the physical committee calendar there will get populated, will automatically get populated to the overall committee in here. But when we're actually back here on the committee page, this calendar on the bottom will only show anything that's on the physical committee. but the overall committee will show everything from the other committees. So, which I believe they're trying to populate as well. So that kind of give you a brief rundown, Dennis. Anything?
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
Okay. Any other questions, hurdles, challenges? Anybody got anything else to report in for this month? Okay, if nobody has anything, that was all I had for this month. Again, really need your feedback for November. Virtual event, I know I'll be reaching out to a few folks to try and put together. Again, I encourage some feedback on that, and reach out to me with any idea that you might have had or something like that. Doesn't mean you have to do a presentation. I'm just looking for ideas. I'm more than happy to do different presentations and stuff out there. Just kind of, what are you interested or where you're stuck on? What would you like to hear from the group and whatnot? So if nobody else has anything, have a good day, and thanks again for your time, and enjoy the rest of your summer.
Thanks for the effort, Josh. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Josh.
Bye now.
Thank you, Josh.
Take care.